Come this far, someone will break your heart, your world will fall apart. They will take your hopes and your dreams and leave you in your found fears. They will take your fight, maybe it's a new start. Life is just a moment, don't forget who you are. When life has a chance, take it as a sign. Don't swallow the line, don't take the blame for things you can't control. Roll with the punches, take second chances. Chase your dreams, life isn't always what it seems. Don't give up on your dreams, now you've come this far. Don't listen when they tell you you can't do.
This is QSJ Radio. We dig into the underground to uncover independent artists, creative voices, and the stories that shape the music that you don't hear anywhere else. Welcome to MadLuh's Digging Up the Underground. Today, we're sitting with UK independent artist Jonathan Tate, a lead bass musician, blending rock, folk, and hip-hop influences into deeply personal songs shaped by recovery, grief, sobriety, and emotional honesty. His music doesn't hide behind polished industry mask. Instead, it leans into vulnerability, turning difficult life experiences into songs that resonate with people going through their own struggles. With tracks like Shadow Man and a new single, Craving for Control, and Roller Coaster, gaining underground radio attention, Jonathan is building a name through authenticity rather than trends chasing. Today, we're digging into the stories behind the music, the emotional weight of songwriting, and what it means to create art while rebuilding yourself in public. Jonathan Tate, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dave. Good afternoon. Good morning. Hello, wherever you are.
Yeah, right. Good day, Earth. Your music feels incredibly personal, almost like pages pulled from a journal. At what point did you realize songwriting was becoming more than just music and actually turning into a form of survival or recovery for you?
I think you're 100% correct when you say the lyrics sound like they've been pulled from the journal. It's good that you picked up on that because I'm in recovery for a lot of adult life is blighted by addictions, drugs, and alcohol. In recovery, you know, at the beginning, I talk with the intention of journaling, and I'd write a couple of pages before I went to bed on a night, put my head on the pillow, wake up, have a look at them again, and I'd find what I'd written that previous night. They were ramblings, angry at the world, myself, and situation, and they weren't coherent. And I thought, well, why don't I do what I've always done, which is write. Previously, I'd write growing up and stuff, dealing with things that you go through as a young adult, just with the intention of doing nothing with them, just writing. Being honest to me, I'm processing things, and these songs, they came from the very specific friendship for me, which formed just prior to me entering rehab, and then we became close while I was in rehab, and then coming out of rehab in very early recovery. And this friendship fell apart over the course of 18 months, 2 years. And as the friendship was falling apart, I was writing songs because I was attending a music group at something called Town Hall Smart, which is a recovery group based in just outside of York for people with mental health issues, addiction, and people who have been homeless and have other complex needs. I was attending that, and I was writing these songs, and I was performing them in front of people, and I was getting everything out that I was feeling, that I was thinking, as this friendship slowly deteriorated and ultimately fell apart for possibly good as it stands. And I was getting used to playing, being vulnerable in front of people, getting instant audience feedback. And I found myself doing open mics. I found people were connecting with the songs. I moved from doing a Travis and Stereophonics cover to adding the odd one of mine in, and people connected with them. So it's gone from me just writing for myself, playing some to myself on my sofa, to open mics, to things like this, and to something called Primal Live, playing to over 100 people last month.
Nice.
Raising funds for the rehab that I was in and the organisation that literally saved and changed my life. And I poured a lot of myself into these songs, and I wrote because the alternative was going back to destructive forces, which for a long time ruined my life. So the only other thing I had was to write and to play. So that's what I did.
You know, one thing that stands out, and obviously you're saying so much of this already, but your work is emotional honesty. Um, Man, e- even for people who haven't really gone through what you've gone through, emotional honesty cleanses a lot. It helps with so much. Um,
Yeah.
it's something that I speak about day to day, but
Mhm.
this is different. Y- You also said something that kind of goes with the work is the alternate was to be destructive. Is that something
Yeah.
that you knew that you were doing to yourself, or is it something that you had to look at the mirror one day?
Uh, Towards the end of addiction, you're very much using against your will. You're doing it because you feel like you have to. I mean, you get told by family friends, how destructive your behaviour has been. You see the consequences through what you're living, other people's reaction to it around you. But I think a lot of it is you're in a bubble. You don't care, and you just want what you want, be that the substance and or the drink. So you go to any means to get it, and to a large extent, it strips away your moral compass, your morals, and who you were as a person, and you act completely against the type of person that you were brought up as and that you were before things started to really hit rock bottom. So yeah, I think you are aware of it, but you are that entrenched in it that nothing else really matters.
Is that is that what leads you to this single, a craving for control? Is that a
Um,
response to yourself or a defend and an act toward yourself? I feel like something, how did this song come together and the craving for control? This is also a craving for something else, right?
a craving for control. I initially wrote that because the friendship that with the person that was falling apart. In things that I observed, I felt that the person had to control every aspect of their life, the way people were perceiving them, be it online or in person or both.
Okay, okay.
That they had to tightly control themselves, and then I sat with it and I realized that I was at wanting to, the cradle of control was also mine as well because I wanted to control the outcome. It's, it's a, it's when different communication styles clash. Some people need distance, and time to regulate. I myself and some other people need immediate resolution, need a conversation, and that's when the two communication styles clashed and there was, um, a breakdown, reconciliation, and repeat multiple times. Because each person feels that their own needs and their own communication style are important. And when there's a mismatch, there is a clash. So I wanted to control the outcome. So that's where my craving came from.
Okay.
It isn't technically a craving for any substance or alcohol. And then in the second half of the song, it almost becomes me speaking to myself with lines like, you're in charge of your life. Um, there's a fire that burns inside of you. Um, don't be afraid to change your track. It's me basically telling myself that things might be not very good at the minute, but keep going. Have some resilience and have some courage and have some belief in yourself. And um, things aren't what you wanted them to be, but take another path and things might be all right. So it was me speaking to myself a lot, I think, in the second half of that song.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and introduce this to our people that are listening. If you are listening on the podcast as a pre-recording or live now on our platforms or on www.qsjradio.com, thank you so much, guys. If you got any questions for Jonathan, please, I'll get to them as soon as I can. This is Craving for Control, which is crazy because from what I'm getting out of this story of this song is you're viewing someone's life and it's almost annoying you, right? Kind of like, chill out.
I wouldn't say it was annoying. I'd say I was observing. I was writing, yes, from my point of view, but the songs, they're basically saying these are what I have observed, these are how it affects me, and these are how I think it affects you. So I'm very much a storyteller. I write from my own perspective. I write what I see. I write what I'm going through.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll get back to that because I could tell you doom scroll. And that, my friend, is another addiction we gotta battle. Craving for control.
Yeah.
It's hard to see it when you're stuck in a wall without words. It's hard to keep believing in what you don't know anymore. All the people that pass you by, they don't see the things about you that make you cry. No matter how hard you try, it never gets better. You put on your Sunday best and try again.
Just talking about this song, and it, it's very, very it's very all over the place considered how songs are, right? Kind of like 1, 2, 3s, 3, 4, 5s, whatever, dance moves, things like that. There's something different about this song and how it was recorded. What was the process through making this song and why release it the way it is?
The songs, they aren't polished pop, so they're not going to be 4/4 in timing. They're not typical. They're designed to be listened to. They're designed for the lyrics to be front and center, which is how I wanted them recorded. I wanted to be recorded as live, so very stripped back, I say, very lyric orientated. So there was no real input from the producer. There was no overdubs put on them, so it was literally 1 or 2 takes captured. So I wanted to capture that intimacy, capture that live raw feeling.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's a question. Is people like, okay, he's doing this, but why is it released this way? And now I can understand. It's more of a I wouldn't say like singing in the shower version, but a lot of I'm in the feeling right now, and I don't need that to be construction. I don't need to be. I don't need a how to. I don't need to. This goes here, that goes here, because those feelings, they didn't come like that. They didn't come squared off. So
Exactly.
to say.
There's rough edges, yeah. So the designer, you get everything.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think maybe.
And I think
with distance, it dilutes things.
Yeah. And you know what? And I think that that does it when they quote unquote dumb it down. They bring it to the ears. If you guys are just tuning in, we're tuning in with Jonathan Tate. You can find his music all over the place on Spotify. He's on Instagram. Just look up Jonathan Tate, the way that it's spelled on the title here. For those who are not listening live right now, Jonathan, Jonathan, Tate, Tate. John, you notice the gray? That's because you're fighting against the light. So if you want to change the lighting, basically do the, yep, something
That's
small like
better.
that. Yeah. I know he was like, wait, what the?
And I was feeling like I was under a spotlight.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to edit this version. The people who get lucky to see this stuff, but well, we
This
know
is live
won't be
radio.
on the internet. Yeah. Your song blends rock, folk, and from what I'm hearing, some hip hop influences, which is something you don't hear every day.
Yeah.
What artist, with of course your life experiences, shaped your sound?
Yeah. And I think, yes, your life experiences shape your sound in terms of the lyrics. Sonically, your writing style. I think,
No, we'll discuss that already. I want to know
okay.
the artist behind this, the influences that because there had to be somebody like, oh, I want to be like them, or not say specifically that person, but what
Yeah.
music?
I mean, the hip hop influences are interesting because I've never actually actively listened to hip hop as a genre of music. I think that comes from the speed in the lyrical delivery, but I'm
Yeah.
influenced by artists such as there's an independent Spanish English artist called Nadia Sheikh who I listened to quite a lot towards the end of my addiction and then in recovery. There's been Travis. The main bands I listen to are people like Stereophonics, again storytellers. Stereophonics, as I say, Travis, who um, very much they are storytellers. They take the minute and they turn it into songs and relatable, which is what I do as well. I think I've also listened to artists like Katie Tunstall, Amy McDonald, those sort of people. So it's very much storytelling, painting pictures in people's
Oh, I
minds,
love the folk. I
cinematic.
love the folk. I love the
Yeah.
folk. People don't understand. Like folk is, I feel, as long as it's really not commercialized, very authentic, very
Mhm.
in the feels, and very in someone is not telling their story so I can relate. They're telling their story so I can listen.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of my favorite genres. Just want to let you know. That's one of mine.
Cool.
You mentioned several of these songs were written during a breakdown of an important friendship.
Yeah, they all are, particularly the early stuff.
Did writing those songs help you process things differently that the conversations couldn't?
These songs, earlier ones, particularly People's two standard singles and Control, they much for me have a conversation that I couldn't have with the person because they needed sass that I've touched on before. So they were allowing me to say things and get things out of my mind that I wanted to say to the other person that I couldn't. And I touched on before saying that writing was a way of me getting it out of myself productively rather than going back to what I was doing to get away from it, drink and drugs. So for a lot of my life, I've masked my feelings. I know the dictionary definition of them, but I never really, because of this mask and chemically induced coma I was in for a lot of my adult life, I've never really felt them and lived them. And that's what these songs are doing. They're getting them out. They're saying, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm seeing. And these are the consequences it's having for me. So it's me putting it onto paper.
I'm sorry that those friendships didn't last. I
It's life.
am. It is. I have grown up to say fuck friends. because and certain other relationships that don't feel important. But what is it, right? What is it? When does it become unimportant for friendships? Is it something that they've done to me, or have they done to themselves? It's just a bunch of stuff. It's crazy because we're talking about things like this, and there's this friend that has been kind of texting me weird. And I know that they have, kind of issues going on with their own lives, and this certain discomfort of others or whatever it is. But I couldn't get it. I couldn't understand, because as a friend, I know that I haven't done anything wrong to them. And when that happens, I feel also that they must have done something wrong to me, and they're feeling guilty about it. And I went ahead. It was crazy, and I usually don't talk about private things like this, but
Yeah.
I went ahead and put all those text messages in AI, and I said, "Can you please break this down for me?"
Mhm.
And the AI says they're trying to manipulate you to feel bad for something that you probably didn't do. And I was like, I knew I wasn't crazy, right? Like
Yeah.
I knew it was, and that was like one objective. But the thing is that they also broke down certain things that were said to me that was like, you see how they worded this? They're trying to be nice, they're trying to be funny, but they're also being a cunt. And I was like, oh, that's exactly how I felt. And that's exactly who that person is. They're trying to be sarcastic, and they're trying to be funny. I know that we're talking about certain things here, but I don't grab a guitar and put a song to it. I actually talk a lot of crap when my feelings are hurt. And
Right.
sometimes my reaction is to give you the same kind of energy. And
Right.
this is what I'm doing live right now. And I'm saying, you need to walk out of my life, because all I did was open my arms to you and you cut my arms. So I'm saying it live to my friend. Please leave me the fuck alone. Okay? Because it's going to get crazy. And I'm sorry, John, that I had to do this on your podcast, but
No, if you need
you
to
know,
say it, you need to say it.
I gotta say it. Why am I stooping to technology to try to figure you out because you feel guilty about the things you live with? I'm sorry, But anyways, moving on. That's crazy. There's a recurrent feeling in your music where you're trying to separate the truth and the narrative. You're almost fighting against being misunderstood, right?
Exactly.
Something that is something that I'm talking about right now. Do you think songwriting became your way of reclaiming your voice?
It definitely did, because as I've said, I keep coming back to it, but I think because of the person's communication style, they needed silence and distance to regulate themselves, and I um I may well be honestly, I don't know, but I need conversation. I need resolution. I need to maybe go over things quite a lot, which can be tiring for the other person. That's my way of integrating it, and that's my way of processing it. So yeah, the songs very much are me saying what I wasn't able to say to the other person, and by me getting it out, they're my way of integrating it, and my way of processing what has happened, and
And I
it's
know that
something I've always done.
and I know this sounds like we're going back and forth, but we're having different versions of this,
Yeah.
because friendships are not part of your addiction, though they might
Yeah.
have been part of the situation, whether it was the recovery side, whether it was while you was zoned out into that. It was always what your next song here that we're going to play, a roller coaster. It was always a roller
Yeah,
coaster.
roller coaster.
And regardless of what
Roller
happens?
Coaster, it's deliberately chaotic. It's the mental battle you fight, the stuff you don't talk about. It's when things are falling apart. You're reaching for something to cling on to, and Roller Coaster, it became about what goes on in your head, the unseen, the suicidal ideations, the losing the friend, about the reminders of them, the post you won in one of their Facebook groups that becomes a reminder that ends up being ripped from the wall and unceremoniously dumped in a box as you're writing the song. It's about people having opinions, voices from every corner coming at you, the this, the that, and you're just grieving the person that you knew and the friendship that you knew, and you cling on to the idea of them that you had.
It's coming to an end, I'm losing my friend. All the dreams I had will fly away with you. Unable to learn from the mistakes I made, the toll it takes. Ancestors of the sound, music that brought us together tells me I'm not around. Paralysis from overloaded analysis sends my mind spinning to the ground. Overdrive sends me spinning. Golden storm all around to see the clouds form on the horizon. Couldn't run for cover, frozen by the fear of losing something I hold dear. Got me hoping for something all grown up, something unknown. Whoa!
Roller Coaster by Jonathan Tate. You can find that all over the place. Literally, guys, this guy's going in. What I didn't know was Jonathan Tate this is new to him. This is new. And but I wanna talk about something. Recovery changes the way people view themselves. You know this. Because you said it a few times already. You were like, the alternate was to be destructive again at a time when you didn't know you were even doing that until people were telling you and you were actually seeing it. It changes the way you trust. It also changes your creativity. This is all recovery stages because you don't want to do something that reminds you of when you were like that. And, but how has sobriety changed the way you approach songwriting compared to the earlier periods of your life?
It's changed it, and then that what I write is probably more coherent, probably more lucid, so I'm not drunk anymore. I remember back, I've mentioned Andy Shape, but I remember back in October of 2021, and when I was still very much in the grip of my addiction, she played some shows for her EP release Undefined in Liverpool, Manchester, Cardiff, Leeds. We finished up in London. And I went on every one of those shows. I'd just recently discovered her. I went because I wanted to listen to the music, yes, but I went because I also wanted to drink without people being on my back, without people judging me. And I came back from the last show, having got a case of beer at 10:30 in the morning from the Tesco near the train station, drinking throughout the train journey, and then getting back, getting a bag of substances, more beer. And I found I'd got these short songs, which were probably poems, and they're about 4 pieces, bang, one after the other. They came, and they were very much in the grip of addiction, very much me reaching for something, but not being able to find it. And then it's changed now in the writing because it's the more long form, and the more you do something, the better you get at it. So the more storytelling rather than just brain dumps, as the earliest stuff from that tour was.
Wow.
And I think
it's wow. Is it?
Yeah, so because you don't know who you are. You're rebuilding your life in area recovery, and music has become a way of me rebuilding myself, becoming this new version of me. it's given me friendships, it's given me connections that I never thought I would be able to do, and it's given me the ability to do things that I never thought would do, things like this, such radio play, and being able to play at Primal Live and ultimately be part of something that raised thousands for St George's Crypt, which was the organisation that ran the rehab I was in, and to be able to give back to them by sitting on a stage with a guitar singing my songs was just, it was unreal. It was massive. And music has definitely changed my life for the better. It's given me structure, a focus, and people in my life.
You know, I can tell. Like, I can really tell. And I can see where things are important, where I could only imagine where things weren't. A lot of independent artists struggle with a balance of authenticity online. You know, like, do you ever feel pressure to turn personal trauma into content? Because, you know, that's the life now. It's content. Or have you found a healthy boundary with it?
No, I mean, I've never presented myself or tried to be one of what we call a recovery influencer. I don't speak about my recovery online beyond the songs. So I've never wanted to be one of those people that goes on to TikTok or whatever and makes a big song and dance about their recovery, because I do what I do, and what people do works for them. What I do works for them. So I'm not going to be saying, do it this way to people, because that's not my job and that's not what I want to.
Yeah.
I just want to play songs and put them out. And if people get through similar experiences, great. Because that's what music's about. It's about connection and about putting into words experiences people have, but they can't find the words for them themselves. So they listen to music, they feel seen, they feel connected, and they think, wow, that's what I'm going through. And
that's what I wanted.
That person's written it, and that's my experience too.
I wanted to ask that when somebody listens to your songs and they're alone at night, what do you hope they take away from your songs?
I hope, I suppose, if they connect with, that's great. That's what you want as an artist. You want people to connect your songs, and as an artist, I think your music is listened to in places you'll never go to, listen to by people you'll never meet, and you do what you do as your way of processing stuff, and then you put it out into the world, and it finds who it needs to find through the various methods that we have available to ourselves now. And if it helps people, then that's great. That's wonderful. But the sole objective initially was me processing things, helping myself first, and then for it to then be going into the world and helping someone else is just, it's mind blowing and it's nuts, and it's just something that you never really envisage, but you do as an artist. You put things out and it ends up helping someone. It's just mind blowing.
Jonathan Tate on QSJ Radio here, guys, and we were talking about so much, but the music has really changed Jonathan in a way that has saved his life for real. You know, you hear that, it's almost cliche for artists to say that, but this is like for real. It's like it has done it. It hasn't saved him from a bad relationship or, you know, dealt with family problems. Dude really had music save his life, and realized that he had one. Listen, John, I am so appreciative about this vulnerability. There's a few things that you mentioned constantly, and I want to get to them, but I want to ask a question for our listeners. What phase are we at? What chapter of Jonathan Tate are we listening to right now?
I'd say the musician, the independent artist, the person that is, while things are still not repaired with this person, whether they will be or not, I don't know. But it's you're listening to someone that has processed it, been through the shit, has avoided the drink or the bridge that were looming a year ago. Someone who has evolved from someone who was broken, someone who is rebuilding their life through music, meeting people, doing amazing things, playing songs to people, someone who is continuously and continually evolving and discovering who he is, what he wants to be, and where he wants to go.
When I just realized that the camera was off, I am so sorry.
Don't you worry.
I was like wondering. I was like, he was just so into the camera and he's zoned out. And I look and I'm like, no wonder he's over there because he's not talking to no one. And I'm so sorry. But you
Don't you
mentioned
worry. I
an
play TikTok, so I'm used to speaking to myself.
Oh, that's right. He's on TikTok, guys. Go ahead and follow him there too. I believe it's J.R. Tate Music. J.R. Tate Music.
Correct.
At TikTok.
Yeah.
So Jay, we are coming to our close, but you did mention an organization that you consistently are a big part of. They help change and help in your recovery, but you also perform with them and for them. Tell us a little bit about that organization and of course other things that you got coming up.
Yeah, the charity that helped me really are called St. George's Crypt. They came about in the 1930s because the Reverend at the time of a church in Leeds, St. George's Church, Don Robbins, he had this space under the church where they stored all the coffins and all the bodies, and he noticed there was people coming back from the war and they had what we call now PTSD. They had nowhere to live, so they were coming into the church. He was giving them something to eat, a drink, and he noticed he'd got all this space under the church, so he literally took all the bodies out, all the coffins, and he allowed people to spend the night literally on wooden benches. And the charity evolved into what it is today, the largest homeless charity in Leeds, helping thousands and thousands of people in the homeless community in and around Leeds every year, providing them with things like a warm bed, a hot shower, a meal, clean clothes, and something as simple as just someone to talk to, someone to empathise, someone to listen, someone to understand what they're going through and their problems. They also help get into accommodation because they've got various properties throughout Leeds that people can go into and rebuild their lives. And they've also got something called Growing Rooms, which is a residential rehab, which is where I entered in February of 2023 because I'd come to the end of my drinking and my drug taking. And I entered Growing Rooms 13th of February 2023. I was broken. I was directionless. I was hopeless. I had no family, a little family left, no friends, no job. I'd just been chucked out of the house that I was living in with my uncle. I was sleeping on my brother's bedroom, on my brother's lounge floor. And I entered rehab, broken, as I say, rebuilt my life. This friendship was falling apart, but through it all, rehab, early recovery, I rebuilt my life, discovered music, and on the 12th of April last year, this year, excuse me, thanks to Primal Live and some other amazingly talented artists, we played together and we raised thousands of pounds for the charity that St. George's Crypt that saved and changed my life. And I did that through music and through my songs and through the new community of people that I've met that I now consider friends. We were in a competition, but it wasn't a competition. It was playing music with friends and helping raise awareness and funds for a charity that helped me so much.
That's so nice. Jamming.
And
I'm
it's powerful.
going to beat you, but we're going to beat you in a way that we're giving back. Like, we're going to see who raises the most money. That is the best kind of battle to have, you know? The best kind of battle.
Yeah. And the artists that won the Homburgs, you know, they're on all social media. They're very, very good. There was other talented artists as well, people like D3 and Nancy, some really, really amazing people that have been through their own stuff with mental health, been through being medically discharged from the army with PTSD and their experience of what they've seen, that are again using music like I have to process their own stuff, to rebuild their lives. And it's a common goal. Music helps not only the artist, but the people listening to it.
Jonathan Tate, thank you so much for sitting with us. Get into this part of life that is new. And I agree. Though those sometimes people do need it, it is good that you did not want to become a recovery influencer, because sometimes those battles should not be so full of open communication. Those are sometimes it is good to see, and it is good to do it. But man, sometimes it can be annoying. It can be a little bit annoying to see someone really prop up a tripod and start crying because, you know, they knew they just had a relapse, or they're about to have a relapse. Like, you had a whole 10 minutes to set up. Like, what are we talking about?
Like, some of it performance behind.
Like, come on. But listen, we're not going to roast them. Jonathan Tate is out here. You could find so much of his music on Spotify for Jonathan Tate. Find him on that TikTok. He's doing a whole bunch of stuff there. He's giving back to foundations and communities with him and his newfound friends. And believe it or not, guys, he's doing so much, and he's gone through so much. He's only been doing this for a year. You guys do not understand that what makes me more proud than seeing an unsigned artist know that they have a bigger position than just trying to be the most popular person in the world. There's other things that are going on. There's other crap going on. And those are the things that we need to fix, because those guys up there, they don't care about you. They don't care. The community does. And the less that you pay attention to your community, the more that you're going to find yourself a little bit alone. And I appreciate Jonathan for reminding us that most powerful music doesn't come from perfection. It comes from honesty. It comes from recovery, reflection, heartbreak, rebuilding, and finding the courage to tell the truth through art. Jonathan's music carries the weight, and we appreciate him for opening up and sharing that with us in his journey. Be sure to support John by checking out his music and following his journey as he continues carving his place in the independent music scene. Because remember, we're not talking about the addict. We're talking about the independent music artist, Jonathan. And everything listening, thank you for spending part of your day here with us on QSJ Radio. And John, we will definitely try to reach out for you, because I want to know how those gigs went. I want to see videos.
Thank you. Yeah.
I want to see what's going on and how much, fundraising you've done, because I know you're going to keep doing that. And thank you so much for spending time with us.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me, Dave. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do for independent artists, and I wish you all the success.